before I forget, real quick, that's something I want to point out too. I think that these 6 chests, if you have noticed that this number kind of appears again, where we have the Gorosei plus Emu, they have 6 abilities of somewhat unique stature, and also you have 6 levels of Impel Down. And I'm thinking that maybe that has a correlation to Emu and the Gorosei's abilities.
I mean, I do have a theory about that.
Amazing!
Because
Cole needs more videos, so go for it.
Yeah, you already know.
Yeah,
Give
bro,
a break.
by
Give more
the way,
videos.
Cole, by the way, my name's Sil, not Cats.
You kept saying,
what?
King, you kept saying cats. Cats are saying this, cats are saying that. So Sil wants you to name her directly.
No, I don't actually care, but I thought it'd be fun to bring it up. So, I kind of got like a little bit fixated on Brooke because I was like, this man is the only one who can detach his soul from his body.
Yes.
And move independently. So I think like a very clear kind of through point for that would be that, like, what's to say he couldn't possess someone else if his will was strong enough or if he was like given permission. I think that's within a realm of possibility. So, acting on that assumption, mind you, I think it's a parallel for Emu, where like instead of having like an innate goodness, this innate negativity is kind of more like a disease, so it can it can infect you. It'll give you power, but it'll like sacrifice your autonomy, and I think that's what we're seeing with Saturn. Because I'm still going with the 5 Gorosei being essentially Emu's thralls. Because I think the only reason we're seeing Conqueror's Haki is because of that summoning circle. Like I think that Emu's essentially giving them the bag from which they can actually pull some shit out. Because the way he talks does not sound like the other conversations you hear the Gorosei having. Like, there is a possibility it's the yokai demon within him speaking, for sure. Part of me is just saying, man, I think it's just straight up Emu.
We had this theory before. It's not necessarily
we've talked about it last time.
And I think because you can argue that the summoning circle could be Emu's thing, not necessarily Saturn's thing, where Emu is able to actually teleport the Gorosei around.
Well,
because that's
essentially what I'm arguing. Because there's no way a guy like Saturn has Conqueror's Haki. He's a lapdog.
So really?
Does he have
No, he's an absolute lapdog.
We see Black Lightning effects all around him, but at the same time, it's like, hold on now. This guy is able to like his powers can like freeze frame all of them in the area. We saw this weird like invisible fire that's kind of coming off him that's doing that. And then also, like when you think about it in terms of how they react when certain characters do something, like the Yonko when they do something, they're always like shook in their boots. Like, oh my god, they're every meeting. Oh my god, they're every meeting. Oh my god, they're every meeting. Oh my god. And it's like, yo. And he has this energy to where Lucci, Zoro, Luffy, Kizaru, Jima, like, yo, what the hell's going on? Who? Damn,
so yeah,
that's scary.
But
how'd you feel about that?
They sweat too much to have Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah, Cole, I have a theory on Saturn.
Amazing!
More theories, I like it.
So I think Saturn has telekinesis. Wow. And I think that's how he can blow people's heads off.
Just straight up telekinesis.
I mean, that's what I said. Right. I said that
that's heavy.
That was a lot based on like Dragon Ball. Babidi can blow people's heads up. Babidi also has telekinesis.
He's obviously got some sort of aura type power because he's holding people down.
You did this in your video. The Ushi Oni does have the ability to interact with someone's soul.
Yes.
What if he's like, as dumb as this is, he's doing some Jiren eye stare, but it's targeting their soul somehow, and that's what he's like affecting when they're being in this state.
I'm okay with that because it looks like, because whenever you see Sanji get hit, and then whenever you see Bonnie get hit, and also when the guy get hit too, there's no path, there's no like trajectory. Like it's not like an Omega beam, like from
No.
I don't see like a pathway.
If it's invisible or it is something that most people can interact with, I know for a fact, or maybe a fact, there is one person that should be able to maybe sense it, and that's Luffy with Voice of All Things. I would like for that to come back into play if he gets back up.
I mean, he is kind of KO right now.
Oh, yeah,
if he gets back up, if he gets back up.
I'm not too sure if you can have. I'm not too sure, honestly, if the Voice of All Things could sense it, but maybe it'd be because that ability so far just kind of more attuned to unique, like you can talk to animals and you can hear poneglyphs and stuff like that. But if it has more unique properties to it, that'd be kind of cool. And I think also, but at the same time, being telekinetic is also kind of like insane.
Wonky as shit. Yeah.
I'm not against it at all, Dramar. I think that'd be interesting as to have a telekinetic Duffer user. But I also like the idea of it being able to like, because based on the lore, it should be targeting the soul in some way.
Yes.
And and then when you look at his eyes, they have this sort of like bubbly effect to it, and that's very similar to Big Mom stuff. When she like takes out a soul, or when she like it's very similar to Big Mom's thing of soul manipulation. So I feel like he could be targeting a person's soul directly with some sort of soul force, and then that allows them to take damage no matter what.
Yeah, that translates to their physical body. Whatever he does to the soul translates to
yeah, in some way, exactly. Brooks, yes.
The Soul King's gonna show up and just neg diff him with hacks.
I mean, he should. That'd be kind of cool if, like, Brooks, if Brooke could say, like, "Hey, I see something that no one else could see," that would be really
crazy.
Cool.
Yeah, because we already know that you can see souls in One Piece, but there could be something more than that.
But you don't think
that bad matchup?
I hope that's the case, because I think that like there is an option for Emu to be directly channeling their power from the underworld, and that would explain like the quote-unquote like ominous presence, because it doesn't say that it's innately like a negative or positive presence. It's just like an ominous presence. So like instead of like Brooke or Zoro that pull the underworld power for an innately good end, it could be some sort of like Crossroads demon scenario where like Emu or any of the Gorosei like had to provide some sort of sacrifice. I mean, Brooke essentially gave his entire physical body, but Emu could have something set up that allows them to use the underworld as kind of like this power conduit, so they can send their power through the underworld or even channel it from the underworld.
A blood oath of something? Like a blood
Yeah,
oath?
if you've ever heard of like Crossroads demons.
What you're saying is that through Saturn, Emu is like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Mad Long Range while also applying Reiatsu. That's basically what he's doing?
Yes.
That's a good description, because honestly, everything we've been led up to believe about Emu is that they're terrified of losing control. So why in the hell would they then trust these 5 guys to accurately carry out their will? I feel like they have to have an assurance or some form of control over these guys.
To be honest, when you have this kind of like tyrant or like despot, usually they're paranoid. I mean, that's like a common trope.
I guess the issue I have with kind of like the demon thing directly, like let's say with Brooke, is that Brooke kind of tells us that because he died and his body is now a skeleton, in order to keep him active, his soul beats on a higher frequency. Like his soul is exuding more innate power than other people's souls. And I've theorized that Zoro has something similar, but he doesn't realize it yet. Where the reason why you have those green embers around Zoro's sword, it's very similar to Brooke's embers around, or like his will-o-wisp around him when he goes to like the astral plane, I suppose, like, when he's a ghost, it's because their souls are being on a higher frequency. But the idea is that their souls kind of be on a higher frequency to some degree, which allows them to, and I guess you can argue it's kind of interesting. It's kind of tap into, let's say, like the soul power aspect of One Piece that we haven't really dove into per se. But
it's been there.
You can argue, but there's also something that's very interesting too, where like in the film and movie they explain how like these sort of demons can exist because the shadow of the soul. So things like loneliness, sadness, despair, they can kind of coalesce and bring form to certain entities and deities.
That's the whole idea behind Japanese yokai. That's the only reason they exist. Is because they're manifestation of worldly fears.
Right.
They're born in hell, in the underworld, mind you, but then they reincarnate on land.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? So I just thought about this. What is the closest thing to the underworld in One Piece?
Impel Down?
Impel Down.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for like Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, Spirit of the Way is something that happens in Impel Down.
So the sadness, the loneliness, the pain, the anguish, the despair in Impel Down.
There are levels to it.
Is it possible? Yeah. Is it possible that also plays a more direct role in these either demons existing or the different powers in some unique way?
Is Emu trying to make everyone in the world miserable by having the gates of justice, by having the red line, by having
so much control over the world? But so like, think about it, right? If you're not an affiliated country with the world government, you're allowed to just get,
poverty,
destroyed,
war,
taken over. Like, you can have like literally like, you know, human hunting games, like it's Mockingbird over here. And then you have to join the World Government Nations in order to be okay. Well, what's the price? You have to give them a huge amount of taxes. Money. You have to give up a lot of your infrastructure for a lot of resources to the Tenryubito. So it's a lose-lose situation in a lot of different ways. It's not the most ideal situation unless you're in the New World. But even still, you have to. By then, you're in like Yonko rule. You know, like you have to get lucky. You have to get lucky to be on like a solid Yonko, I suppose, right? But the idea is that, you guys are under the thumb of the world government, and these guys are, you can argue some way, siphoning off of that despair, off of that anguish. Even you could argue when Brook gets sent over to the country where after Kuma Smack, they were a very impoverished nation. They were praying to Saiyan, and they needed food because I think they were being hunted down by the Long Arm tribe. Right. Yeah. So these things, you could argue, play a role maybe in the overall atmosphere and the tonage of people like Emu gaining and maintaining power.
Well, I think you're onto something because, like, not only were they suffering, but they were like a big thing that stuck out to me watching that was like, not only were they trying to like get back their sovereignty, whatever it was, they were wishing death upon the other clan. Everyone. They wanted like a full-on scorched earth type of thing. They wanted Brook to come in and just decimate them. So those negative feelings, I think, like, I mean, this is headcanon for me, but I straight up think that like Emu feeds off of fear in one way or another.
So what if Emu is the demon, but the rest are like demon-like? So Emu is the actual demon.
Thralls.
And
the Gorosei are thralls, man. I'm gonna die saying that.
Or it could be like
they could be like
Black Clover Cole.
Right now, thralls are pretty damn powerful, bro. Like
it could be like in Black Clover.
What's ironic is like Kuma growing up with the Joy Boy background, and then he works for Joy Boy's dad. Like he works for like.
That's true. That's true.
That's so funny, isn't that? There's the theory too that after the God Valley flashbacks, Dragon might show up in Egghead, bro. It might come to help Vegapunk and everybody.
Now you have more arguments now.
He's gonna come in. He's gonna come in with his God Slayer Haki and just start putting hands on Saturn.
God Slayer
Haki. Immortal boy.
By the way, hold on, real quick. Are we sure that this is Haki, like, that they're actually doing real quick? Because they're lightning. I don't know.
We have no clue.
Don't show this panel again. Oh man,
it could be devil fruits.
What, the black sparks coming out in the air?
Hang on, real quick, Cole.
Yeah.
Do you want another explanation for Saturn that requires we jump in the Wayback Machine?
Go.
I have it all set up. It's real quick.
Go.
Not the Wayback Machine.
No, because like.
I'll go after you, bro.
All right, so check the garden.
How is this? This is dangerous. So this is.
So way back in the day, these 4 panels are from chapters 9 and 114, and this is where Buggy's power and Nico Robin's powers are introduced. And if you look in both sets of panels, the powers are invisible.
Are you being serious, Dradmar, or do you want to actually be like
I'm volunteering that this is a possibility because Oda has used this in the past.
So can I just say, what if it's just Oda not wanting to reveal their powers?
I know, that's what I'm saying with Saturn, that the reason we can't see what it is because it's invisible.
Oh, I mean, okay, I get what you're saying now.
No, I'm just saying this is a possibility that it is something physical or tangible, but Oda just doesn't want us to see it yet, because he has done that in the past.
It could just be Conqueror's Haki.
Maybe it could be.
No, but that would be too much because I feel like the effects.
Would it be too much?
No, because the effects of the ability itself, the way they look, they have a stylistic that's way more soul related rather than Conqueror's Haki. Because like people in the area aren't getting knocked out. Not even the Vice Admirals or the randoms. Like, they're not getting knocked out around them.
I'm just saying, how do you know that Conqueror's Haki isn't affecting people's souls? I think that's a large possibility.
So one thing we know is that we can. In the story, people can already see souls naturally because they can see Perona shit, they can see Brook shit all the damn time. Also, I think Armor Haki, I think actually involves a soul or spirit. Like you can code your soul or spirit over your body to make it more physically sturdy. I think it's something like that for Armor Haki. But it's also, and maybe Conqueror's Haki also affects the soul/will too. But what I'm saying is that we're not seeing random Marines get knocked down, pass out like that's what's normal with Conqueror's Haki. Instead, in the last chapter, in this chapter, they're like running away, or like they're kind of shocked. but that's really it. Like, I'm not sure if we're seeing actual Conqueror's Haki per se, because we need that. It's always that aesthetic of, oh shit, Conqueror's Haki, pass out, pass out, pass out, pass out. But we're not seeing that right now. With even like the randos.
It could be like more like a soul focus.
Head
if you
exploding
give into
Conqueror's
your
Haki.
fear, you die type of thing.
Head exploding Conqueror's Haki would be like an
Haki.
order of magnitude above anything we've seen.
It
It would be crazy. Like,
I mean,
It'll be
it's
crazy,
better.
sure.
It would be better than Shanks's one because he literally explodes someone's head.
that's what I'm saying.
mean,
Like the ability to hold somebody like Sanji down physically with Conqueror's Haki, and to blow up fodders' heads. That's a lot.
But they say
That's
it
pretty
powers
crazy.
it.
Everything
But
that
they
he's
say it
doing-
power. Like, still, like you said before, like, oh, like these guys are thralls. Right, they're flood.
Yeah.
They're not worthy of being Conqueror's Haki users.
It
so
could be Emu.
why
But
would
what I'm
could be
saying,
Emu.
Cole, is that
unless
they're
you want to say
not.
unless you say that Emu is the one that's controlling them,
Yes,
and then
that's what I'm saying.
Emu has Conqueror's Haki,
Yes.
and then through Jay they're able to do this.
Bluetooth Haki.
So like who put it in the chat? Sky, it's like yeah. Shanks is knocking out the newbies when he does his like long range telephone call with his Haki. I don't see how. And then when Jay does his ability in the last chapter, you don't see the guys being knocked out around him, and he has these huge plumes of fire and
Just one head
lighting all
explodes.
around him. But no one's getting knocked out. It's just a matter of like, wait,
only the guy that looks at
That's
him directly.
why I like the soul argument more than Haki related. Even though these sparks, again, it could be the manga, who knows. The sparks are there. It's just we don't know what's really happening.
and
here.
keeping it a stat
Well, we
too.
know-
Like I mean,
But Haki is
and
a
again, I
manifestation of
understand
the soul.
in a way,
Right.
but is it Conqueror's Haki? So it is a bit weird,
Yeah.
but keep in mind that even in the film Red with Tom Musica, there's also Black Lightning there too when he forms.
Exactly,
There's also Black
and
Spark,
that,
Black Lightning.
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, this could all be Armored Haki in a weird way. Like in a weird,
And
because actually,
Yeah.
you know what? I think more likely that's the case because it could explain why Zoro can do what he does, and his affinity for Haki is Armored Haki. That's his affinity for Haki,
Right.
armament.
Curry has
what's
the
Conqueror's look
lightning
like?
on his arm when he fights Luffy.
But like, it's black lightning
he's
for
using
crying out loud, man. That's as
Well,
clear as we're gonna get as a
on-
Conqueror's Haki indicator.
No, but the
Honestly,
problem
I
is
think-
that it's never
Thank
clear
you.
because it's not clear. But it's not clear in the story itself, though. Like for
I don't
example,
know.
Shit me.
Blackbeard fights against Law, and then we see these big ass black bolts
Exactly.
of Haki come from the water. Is that Conqueror's Haki or is that Armor Haki? Like, did he
Yeah,
actually infuse his quakes
it's
with
not-
Conqueror's Haki
Blackbeard
from
has
deep
to have
range?
Conqueror's Haki.
I don't know. I don't know.
We don't know.
Well, first of all, I would
Yeah.
just
Or else he's
say,
about to
like,
get
when we're
crushed by
talking
Luffy.
about when we're talking about Haki, the thing about Haki that's always been interesting is why does it have the right to overpower devil fruits? And I think a lot of that goes back to like One Piece
The
just
will.
as a whole is just really it's extremely spiritual. You're talking about devil fruits. You're talking about I would my guess is that Haki is a what is it, like a spiritual attack. It's a soul attack of
Yeah.
some type. It's a manifestation, like Seal said, of the soul. But I do believe, like, even when you look at Jay Garcia, I think Jay Garcia definitely has agency from Emu. So I don't see him as like just an extension of Emu, because when when she walked in the room, the others didn't even know she was in there. They looked up and was like, "Oh shoot, Emu's in here." And so like they don't have that connection with her. Like if they had that connection, they would know where she is all the time.
True.
Having Saturn as kind of like a conduit for Emu, I'm not against it, but I think it might be a little bit too convoluted. Maybe we just
Yeah,
give
but
credit to Saturn. Maybe it's Saturn
Yeah.
just that nasty.
Yeah,
Maybe we
I mean,
just give.
It is a possibility.
I just
It
Maybe it's the
look
soul
like
of the devil
it
fruit
is
itself.
truthfully, if you actually look at it, right? Because the reason why it actually looks like it, for one, what Vegapunk said, your hopes and dreams, blah blah blah, it
Yep.
created from this other dimension. People hope and they dream devil fruits can't exist. That's why they exist. But what we find out about Haki is your will, your spirit.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, Wing, but at the same time, I'm
Well, I
just
ain't
saying
saying
like,
you're
yo,
right.
like right, because we know that there's certain characteristics of Conqueror's Haki, and we see them time and time again, but we're not seeing them happen in this area when Jay appears, whether it's this chapter or the last
Right.
chapter. So all I'm saying is that if we're not seeing those effects, it's likely something else entirely. What else could it be? And I'm tying it more to what we can kind of gander from his actual ability itself. Even when he gets pinned down, we see this sort of invisible-ish fire that kind of protrudes from Jay's area. It's weird as fuck when you have Sanji, Frankie, Vegapunk, and Alex. They can't move, and so it's like, wait, what's going on? And then Vegapunk says, well, it's probably a different power because we can't move.
Oh,
and
Yeah,
then,
I mean,
so,
I'm almost positive it's
It
Devil
could
Fruit.
Yeah.
also be underworld fire. We know that.
I mean, it says pinning me down, which means that it's something
It's a force.
they can feel. It's a
Yeah,
force.
it's tangible. It would be like maybe like a physical nightmare pressure or something.
This is not Haki
it's
paralysis or anything like that because they're feeling pressure.
But
it
I
could
mean,
be
like,
him
we don't
interacting
need-
with the soul.
But I mean, like,
Oh.
we don't fully understand, like, even what Conqueror's Haki is. We don't even really understand truly what Haki is, period.
See you. Bye bye.